Hey guys, Cuchallain here, and today I've got another Danganronpa 3 theory for you. This one's going to be focusing on Zetsubou-hen, and it's going to be focusing on the Twilight Syndrome case. So I mean, last week the Twilight Syndrome case dropped as an episode. It really rushed through it, but it introduced a lot of cool ideas that I was very interested in. And some of the ones that I put forward people didn't seem to agree with, and I don't feel like I really explained them enough in my review. So this is the theory about the Twilight Syndrome case. It's a theory that relates to Mahiru, Sato and Natsumi and how they interacted with each other, and really how the Twilight Syndrome case came to be. As usual, it's just a theory. It's just my kind of headcanon thing. It has a lot of evidence to back it up, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's right. So listen to the end and let me know what your thoughts are on the idea too. So I mean, the Twilight Syndrome case was introduced to us in Super Danganronpa 2 as a game within a game that eventually led to Mahiru's murder. And, you know, it was crazy. I mean, it was the first time we got true proof that the Danganronpa 2 kids had had their memories erased. We got through the idea that they'd already been through high school, or at least a year of it. They knew each other, and all of that had been taken away from them. And then they also realised that even in their real lives, there were murders going on. There was despair surrounding them, even while they were just normal high school students. So, you know, it was a good case. It was very interesting. And what we got told in the game, and what we got shown in the anime, are not quite the same, and I like that. Because you see, in the game, they make Sato feel like a very sympathetic character. She's a bit crazy, yes, because she's trying to hide a murder. She's constantly trying to get away with it. She's trying to hide all the evidence, delete all the photos, destroy all the photos. And so she does seem a bit frantic, but at the same time, we hear everything from her point of view. We never actually see Natsumi in that game at all. In the game, we hear that Natsumi used to bully Mahiru and made her life hell, and we even hear that Mahiru's okay with the idea of trying to cover everything up to keep Sato safe. So it does just make it seem like Natsumi really was that much of a bitch who was bullying Mahiru for a long time and kind of broke her spirit, so she was okay with the idea of Sato killing her. In the anime, however, Natsumi doesn't seem that bad. She seems very understandable as a character. She's a very foul-mouthed character, quite like Hiyoko Saionji, who snaps at everything and constantly, like her brother, makes death threats. I mean, if you think about some of the things that Fuyuhiko has actually said in the past, they're a lot worse. I mean, he even once said to Mikan, "I'm going to sell you into slavery across seas." And that's a real threat coming from a Yakuza. That's one thing that blew my mind. A lot of people in the comments section were saying, oh, it's still Natsumi's fault. She shouldn't be making those kind of threats as the leader of a Yakuza family. And I was sitting there thinking, but everybody loves my boy Fuyuhiko. He's an amazing character too. He's just also got that aggressive side where he's got to act like a Yakuza gangster. And a lot of Natsumi's side from that comes from the fact that she loves her brother. She probably tries to imitate her brother a little bit. I mean, when we hear Fuyuhiko talk about his sister in the game, we even hear him bring up the fact that there was a whole faction of their family that wanted to make Natsumi the leader of the clan. They thought that she was stronger than him. And at the same time, she just straight up said, no, I don't want to. The only reason that I'm amazing is because I'm your sister. And, you know, that's it. She loves him so much. She wanted to become the ultimate sister. So in the anime, Natsumi's shown as a lot more sympathetic. She's shown as someone who really wants to become an ultimate, quite like Hajime. But she just has that foul mouth and snaps at people and continuously makes jokes about bullying Mahiru. But she doesn't actually get shown bullying Mahiru at all in the anime. This is the thing. In the anime, it's always Sato coming up to her and starting fights with her about, you better not touch my Mahiru or I will stop you. Like she literally says her first line, if you lay a hand on Mahiru, I'll never let you get away with it. And this was after Natsumi had said about bullying Mahiru to make her drop out. But if you look at Natsumi's face before she says that line, she literally looks to the side at all of the Reserve Corps students and then says it. As if she spotted Sato and decided, I'm gonna fuck with this chick again. So this is where I'm going to bring the theory in, because this theory is a little crazy. I'm going to have a lot to explain it, but I figure I'll just introduce it now and get you thinking about it. The idea is that actually Mahiru and Natsumi were closer to each other than Sato was to Mahiru, and they were just all getting along very well in the photography club. Everything kind of changed when suddenly Mahiru and Fuyuhiko got scouted to become Ultimates at Hope's Peak Academy, and suddenly Natsumi realized she was about to lose her brother and her best friend. They were about to go to Hope's Peak Academy and she was going to be left with the normal students and never be on their level again. So I imagine at that point she probably did bully Mahiru a bit more than normal. I really don't think it ever got physical. I don't think she'd do that to Mahiru. We even see in the anime at one point when she's about to smack Sato in the face, as soon as Mahiru gets in the way, she holds her punch. I'm thinking if Mahiru hadn't gotten in the way, she probably would have punched Sato in the face, but because it's her old friend Mahiru, she can't actually swing at her. She doesn't actually want to physically hurt Mahiru. She's just jealous of her. She's pissed off at her, she doesn't know how to handle those emotions, and so, like Hiyoko, she snaps at her and tries to degrade her with words. And I imagine that while they were doing this in middle school and their relationship was getting more and more rocky, it was Sato that actually finally split them up. We have the moment in the anime where Sato lifts up her arm, shows a long scar going down her arm, but she never actually says it was necessarily Natsumi that did that to her. This is the thing, she's very specific with her words. She says to Mahiru, "You remember this scar, right? Back in the club when she and you got into an argument, I stopped you two, and then that night, it must have been her." Those are her lines. She never actually says, "I saw her stab me," or anything like that. So, I mean, at worst, a random person came up and tried to attack Sato with a knife and cut her. In which case, Sato might have legitimately thought, "Oh my god, it must have been Natsumi sending a member of the Kuzuryu clan to try and kill me." Or more likely, Sato saw an opportunity, she saw that her friend was going to Hope's Peak Academy, and she decided, hey, Mahiru's going to be the ultimate photographer. If I become really close to her, then I can follow her around from place to place like goldfish poop. And I'll come back to that goldfish poop comment in a minute. But that's like a very strong theme that was laid out throughout the episode. But this is what I think. I think she actually cut her own arm and then went into school the next day and just literally told Mahiru, "That crazy bitch Natsumi finally snapped and tried to stab me." And from that point on, Mahiru probably didn't 100% believe it, but with how crazy Natsumi had probably been acting with snapping at her and trying to mentally destroy her, Mahiru probably decided it was time to back away from Natsumi anyway and just took Sato's word for it and stopped spending any time with her at all. So I mean, this is the thing. Whereas in the game I saw Sato as a completely sympathetic character who was just trying to protect her friend, in the anime I got a completely different opinion of her, where she's a manipulative bitch who possibly cut her own self to get sympathy and is just trying to separate Mahiru from Natsumi and actually keep her own position as the ultimate photographer's best friend. And you know, from how psychotic she gets as the episode goes on, it certainly makes sense. So coming back to that whole thing about the theme of the episode goes a lot into the relationship between reserve corps students and ultimate students. In particular, it spends time on the relationship between Hajime and Chiaki Nanami, and also Natsumi and Fuyuhiko, and also Mahiru and Sato. In the case of Hajime and Chiaki, they're friends, they're playing games, they're having fun, but at the same time Hajime has this constant worry on his mind. I'm just a normal student, should I really be here hanging out with an ultimate? Then we have Sato, who has completely infiltrated Mahiru's group of friends. I mean, she's hanging out with Mahiru, but from the game we also know she was hanging out with other members from the ultimate team, like Hiyoko, Ibuki, and Mikan. They were all friends who sometimes ate lunch together, they hang out after school. So Sato has completely thrown herself into the world of the Ultimates. She's become a pseudo-member of the Ultimates by associating herself with Mahiru so much. Then we have Natsumi, who is on the same kind of wavelength as Hajime, but she's more strict about it. She says herself, anyone who doesn't have that kind of talent doesn't deserve to be anywhere near my brother. And while she's saying that, she's tearing up, she's crying like mad. And there's that kind of thought of, is she actually talking about her brother? Because when we're comparing the relationship between Chiaki and Hajime, like, there's obviously a romance going on there. There are some romantic feelings starting to build up there. Chiaki saying she has fun when she's with him. Hajime says that she's a special person. He wants to have some ultimate talent that he can be able to say to her, I have it and have pride and stand on the same level as her with. So I mean, I think there's romance building there. And the idea that that is being mimicked with Natsumi and Fuyuhiko is a bit odd. I mean, I would think that she definitely wants to be the ultimate little sister. She definitely wants to be in the ultimate class, but I think part of that is also that she wants to spend time with Mahiru. It's that same kind of playground young kid thing where the person that you like the most, you tend to insult the most. Even though back in middle school they were so close, suddenly when there was that jealousy that started to form, Natsumi couldn't help herself. She started being a bitch. She started attacking Mahiru. Not physically, mind you, just mentally. But this is what I think happened. Even though she actually has strong feelings for Mahiru, she wasn't able to contain herself. She realized she's on a different level from me. And there are lines in the episode that actually allude to this as well. The first line that she says when she sees Mahiru is, "Oh, did you come here to mock these talentless losers?" Talking about the rest of the reserve corps students. I think part of that was that she always felt kind of insulted by Mahiru. I mean, Mahiru is like the opposite as well. Mahiru was constantly, during her free time events, talking about how she didn't see her ultimate photography as a proper skill. She just likes taking pictures of what she likes. And she especially likes taking photos of girls and doing character portraits and just recording the day-to-day activities that she enjoys, having a record of all of that. She never sees herself as a particularly good photographer, but for whatever reason Natsumi just couldn't get that through her head and probably thought she was already being looked down at, and you know, every time she was around Mahiru she would have just felt like she wasn't good enough. So she decided she was going to become the ultimate sister. She worked her ass off, but it just didn't work. She still ended up in the reserve corps students. But this is the thing, as time went on, I don't think it was ever Natsumi that started anything. It was Sato that kept going after Natsumi. When it comes down to it, Natsumi probably knows very well how to fight. So I don't think Sato would have actually ever been able to murder Natsumi if it wasn't premeditated anyway. I'm sure Sato completely prepared to kill her. We even see a moment in this anime episode where she realizes, oh no, she's definitely going to hurt Mahiru. I have to do something. And I think that's when she went home and started planning the murder. So it wasn't even just a thing of the next day she tried to talk to her again and then decided, no, she's gone too far. She planned this murder well beforehand. Sato is a crazy bitch, man. Come on. Speaking about that theme of the episode thing, we have Juzo and Natsumi both mention the idea of Sato being goldfish poop. She's just trailing behind Mahiru. She's trying to use Mahiru's ultimate status to make her feel better. We have that mentioned twice in the episode, and Sakakura clearly believes it because he kicks the shit out of Hajime, just letting him know he doesn't want any normal students around the ultimate students, because he thinks that always causes trouble. He thinks that normal students that come and start hanging out with ultimate students are going to end up full of despair and end up hurting the ultimate students. Which seems to be exactly what happened in the Twilight Syndrome case. And also do note there's that point where Juzo almost punches Hajime Hinata. He was fully committed to punching Hajime. But just like that moment when Mahiru blocked Sato, we have Yukizome jump in the middle of Hajime and block him. And that completely mirrors the same situation. It's a moment where an old friend jumps in the way of an enemy, and suddenly the puncher has to stop. They can't hit that person, they like that person. The thing to also consider in all of this is who Mahiru was during all of this. She was very non-combative throughout all of it. I mean, like I said, in middle school she probably made the choice to stop hanging out with Natsumi. But in the high school setting, she certainly wasn't trying to provoke Natsumi at all. And even when Sato kept going after her, Mahiru kept telling Sato, you shouldn't do that, that's going too far. Even when Natsumi was about to throw a punch, she stood in the middle of them. She didn't try to push anyone away, she didn't try to shout at anyone, she just literally stood and watched, but wanted to stop either one of them from actually getting hurt. And again, I think that speaks volumes about her character and who she is. Throughout the game, we're constantly shown she acts a bit like a mother. She's constantly left at home by her family to take care of her father. So when she's interacting with other people, she's constantly acting like a mother or a big sister. In that case with Hiyoko, she starts taking care of her because Hiyoko is such a babied character. She needs help to take care of herself. And so it could be that Mahiru actually knew how broken Sato was mentally. And rather than deal with everything by reporting her or trying to get her into serious trouble, she just decided, no, I should be able to help this girl. If I just stay with her and be her friend, surely she'll get over this. I mean, there are even signs of this in the anime as well. When Mahiru and Sato are walking away from the classroom after Sato's had her first run-in with Natsumi, Mahiru looks very uncomfortable when Sato's talking about how Mahiru is the pride of the photography club and her pictures will definitely be shared all over the world. It seems like she's a bit creeped out by the way Sato is speaking, as if she knows Sato's just using her and she's a bit of a weird kid. Or, you know, maybe she's just scared that some of those photos she took in the last episode are going to get out. Because those were some pretty crazy photos, and I could see a lot of people sharing those worldwide. Maybe she thought that by staying by her side and being calm with her, Sato would have eventually grown out of that jealousy and just seen her as a normal friend and left Natsumi alone. And, you know, maybe Mahiru was just trying to be the mediator throughout all of this. But honestly, when it comes down to it, what's really important here is no matter who started the fight, at the end of it, Mahiru was left with what was at that point her best friend dead, and what could have possibly been one of her best friends from the past dead, while most likely knowing that it was Fuyuhiko who probably killed her best friend in revenge. Oh my god. So, you know, if this doesn't have implications on the later episodes of Zetsubou-hen, I would be madly disappointed. Rather, I am hoping that in the next few episodes we will get the start of despair building within these alternate students. And we'll have Mahiru reacting to the fact that she knows her best friend's killer is still in class with her. But technically, he kind of had the right to do it. I mean, it goes against her ideals anyway, since she thinks that no human has the right to judge another human for their crimes. She says that in the game multiple times. So it's going to be very interesting to see her trying to consolidate the fact that her best friend is now lost to her. And she has to continue classes with the person who killed her. Oh man. So yeah, this was just a theory, but it's what I feel like probably happened with the way that I've seen Natsumi interacting with Mahiru, with the things that Natsumi said about the ultimates, both about her brother, and linking that to Mahiru. And knowing that in the game, Mahiru went on to become best friends with Hiyoko, who reminds me so much of Natsumi. I mean, if nothing else, they look similar, and they certainly have that whole super aggressive bitchy thing going for them. But yeah, that's just my theory of what happened. It's what I really believe, because, you know, I like Natsumi quite a bit, and I really like how much Fuyuhiko loves her. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of that theory in the comment section below. Hopefully it will get brought up more in the next episode and in future episodes to come. It would be great if that becomes like an important dynamic in the relationship of these characters. So if you guys are interested in joining me, I'm going to be doing another live event tomorrow in the evening at around 4 PM EST, 9 PM GMT, where I'm going to be going over some theories between Zetsubou-hen and Mirai-hen. Mainly because a lot of people asked me to defend my ultimate future theory if I could. Which I found very funny. There were a lot of people asking me, oh, I don't think your theory is really completely broken yet. Why don't you do some more research and see if you can still defend it? And I mean, I kind of can. The Miaya thing kind of threw me off for a while. But yeah, I've mostly recovered it. It's not a big deal. Monica just trouncing over everything. So yeah, it kind of all makes sense. I can do that tomorrow, so I'm going to do a live event tomorrow at 4 PM EST. So if you want to join me for that, I'll leave a link in the description and an annotation here. And also, me and Sun Wukong will be doing a live reaction to the next episode of Zetsubou-hen tomorrow, 20 minutes after it airs on Funimation. So if you do want to see the live reaction and my later review, and then the live discussion tomorrow, then definitely subscribe to this channel. We do a lot of Danganronpa content and a lot of theorizing. But yeah, definitely let me know your thoughts on that theory in the comment section below. And if you like this video, then please wreck that like button. It gets it shared more. And if you could share it with anyone else you know who likes Danganronpa and might be interested in this theory, that would help me greatly too. And if you're interested in more Danganronpa reviews, discussions, and theories, then you can always click that subscribe button so you'll see them as soon as I bring them out. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.